In our app, we have now added the All Links button. And when you are logged in as just a simple user, you are going to see all your shortened links. But if you are logged in as an administrator, then you're going to see the links of all the users and also the users that did create these links. But right now, if I click the All Links button or the menu item, it's going to redirect us to the URL and then index. But since the action is by default index in the mapping or in the controller configuration, then the index doesn't show up here on the URL. So now let us go to Visual Studio, and in Visual Studio, we're going to add code. So we get this view where we have a simple table with these columns and also a button, Add New, which when we click, does redirect us to the home page. In here, we need to go to the Solution Explorer and then inside here, go to Controllers and then open the URL controller. Inside this controller, we do have two actions. This is the first one, the index that we're going to use to render the table of all the shortened URLs. And the other one is the create action, which we're going to use whenever the users want to shorten a URL. I'll just scroll up and then I'm just going to remove all this code. And for now, I'm just going to render the view. And then down here, I'm just going to remove this code as well. Now let us go to the view for the index action, and you can find that in the views folder, then URL, and then the index.c# HTML. I'm just going to clean up all this code. And here, the first thing that I'll do is that I'll just set the view data title. And we said that the view data title is used to set the title in the browser tab. And then all short links. This is going to be the value. And then down here, I'm going to have a div, which is going to have the class container. And then inside here, I'm going to have an A link, which if I add the ASP action and then the ASP controller, we said this now becomes a tag helper. We're going to set the action to be index. And then let us also set the controller to be ASP controller to be the home controller. Because we said that whenever the user clicks this icon or this button, we want them to be redirected to the home page. The name is just add new. Let us also add some Bootstrap classes. And you can see in here that this is a green button, which gets green when you hover over this button, but by default, it does have a green border. To get that effect, you can use in here btn and then btn outline and then success. Then after this div, you can create another div, which can also have the class container. Or you can actually put all this data within the same div with the class container. But I'm leaving the design this way in case you want to add an HR in here or some other HTML code. Now inside this container, we are going to create a table. And the table is going to have the class table and then table stripped. And then here we're going to define the table header and the table body. Now, because the ASP.NET MVC does use by default the Bootstrap library for the designs, what you can do is that you can go to the official Bootstrap website and copy the components from there and use them in here. Now, how can you verify that it uses Bootstrap? Well, you can just go to the Solution Explorer. You go then in here to shared and then layout.c# HTML. And then in here, you can see in here that it's using bootstrap.min.css from the lib folder. And because we have this wave in here, it means that this folder can be found in the static files folder, which is the root folder. So if you just go to Solution Explorer, then you go to root, then in here you go to lib. Inside here you have Bootstrap, and then dist, and then CSS, and here you have the bootstrap.css. So now let us go to the official Bootstrap page. So for that, in here, go to getbootstrap.com, and then in here, go to docs. And then here on the left, you're going to have all the components that you can use in an app. So for example, if you want to use something related to forms, you just come here to overview, and you can check all the documentation, or you can just copy some HTML code and paste it in your app, and it's going to work just fine. Now in our view, we are just searching for tables. So you can just search for table and then go to tables. And here you have some tables that you can use. Let's go back to Visual Studio. In here, I'll just go to the index.c# HTML. And here on the table, I'm going to define the t head and then also the t body. In the t head, we just define the columns, and the first column is going to be just the hashtag. Let's also add a scope col. I'm just going to copy paste this multiple times. I'm going to have another one for the original link. Another one for shortened link. Then I'm going to have the number of clicks. And then we're going to also have the user. And the last one is going to be the options, where we have the remove or the delete button. Just copy paste. Just add some formatting in here. And all the THs need to be inside a table row. So TR, just going to cut and then paste it down here. And you can see that the warnings are gone. Now we have the table headers. Now for each table header, we need to have some values here on the T body. And for that, we're just going to create a table row. And then inside this table row, we're going to have multiple TD. First one is going to be just one, for example. And then I'll just add some dummy data, like for example, original link or HTTPS, and then original.com. The shortened link, let's say just a dummy value. Number of clicks, let's say just 3. The user is going to be, let's say, Ervis. Here, let's change in line 22 from user to be options. And then here on the options, we are just going to have a button. And the button is going to be just an A, let's say. And then just class is going to be btn, and then btn-outline, and then danger. So here I'm going to set the ASP controller to be, let's say, the URL. And then the ASP action is going to be remove, which we have not created yet. And the text is going to be just remove. Now let us save the changes and let us run the app. In here now, let us click the all links. You can see that we are redirected to this page, and in here we can see the add new button and then the table down here. Now the data on this table was hard-coded on the HTML. On the next part, you'll learn how to hard-code this data in the controller side and then pass this data through a model or a list of models, and then use that data within a for each loop and display all the data here on the table. So, see you on the next one.